Sanchez has backed out of the interview. There's just too much cannabis talk. It doesn't want his brand to touch this. All right, are you done?
Yeah.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
All right, let's bring in Mark Sanchez. Every week, we love having him on a Tuesday, Fox Sports analyst. By the way, he had the Chargers-Vikings game. I listened to all of it. He was great. We're going to get to that. He's got a clip after the break. We want to address things before there. And I want to start with Burrow last night. So, as a former great athlete, I know what a calf injury is all about. They stink. They're constantly re-aggravated.
Talking about me.
Yeah, you too. So let me ask you. It's funny. You're the quarterback. The team's losing. You've been there. Pressure. Got to play hurt, Mark. Defensive linemen play hurt. Guards play hurt.
Yep.
Quarterback, you know that pressure. They can't hit you in practice. And I do think Burrow feels like, dude, everybody in practice hits except me. And there is pressure to play.
Well, 100%. And we mentioned this in August. You're either hurt or you're injured. And everybody's hurt. So you need to decide, can I perform? And he can perform to the ability that helps them win. Now, does it look quite as sexy as before when he's 100%, fresh out of the gate? Maybe not. But understanding how to manage your misses, understanding when to take the big shot, how to take a little bit off the ball to change your throwing mechanics a little bit, because you can't get as much juice on the ball if you're pushing off that calf consistently. Guys can make up for it with their arm strength and arm ability. Now, if he didn't have that talent, the ball's just spraying all over the place in practice, they wouldn't trot him out there. But Joe Burrow is a special guy, and he's going to figure out a way. He has that ability to get to the answer no matter what it takes, and he's willing to put his body on the line, and I think that juices up his guys. You saw it in college. Before he has that amazing year, I think the real turning point in his career, I think they played UCF maybe in a bowl game.
His junior year.
And he got absolutely just pummeled on the sidelines, looked like he was going to go off in a stretcher or something, walks it off, takes his breath, and comes back firing. And that's where I think the team realized, Ed Ogeron, the rest of the LSU Tigers, that's a dude. Deion Sanders puts dog on their chest or whatever. That's a dog right there. He's going to figure out a way to play. You better drag me off this field because I ain't coming out. I'm going to find a way to win. And that's what he did.
So you have Arizona this week, and I like Josh Dobbs. I don't know if I build around him, but he's big, smart, moves, can make throws.
Faster than you think.
Yes, he is, and it's interesting. So last week, you've been in these games. So when I think of your career, a lot of it is Manning, Brady. You had big wins. That was a good team. But there are these weird weeks when nothing goes right, and there's 12 penalties. Yeah. And you probably had one of these, and you're like, I got to bring a shot Ferguson. I got this guy, this guy.
What are we doing? How's this team hanging around with us? Yeah.
And Arizona's a weird team. So do you look at that game, because you have them this week, and think Arizona's sneakier good than we think, or Dallas, you've had one, nothing goes right?
A little bit of both. I think both things can coexist, and it's not mutually exclusive. Arizona hadn't had a lot of film on tape. You got 2 games of Josh Dobbs, and you're kind of trying to figure out. Now, after a couple more games, you'll understand exactly what that offense looks like. I thought they did an excellent job of trying to leave Micah Parsons in space and make him decide to keep him away from making some big plays. Also, I think, the Cowboys' red zone issues, that's where they started to really stack points on teams. Their defense gets a big turnover, potentially gets points. Boom, the offense goes in and seals the deal. Well, when that doesn't happen, or you give it away like they did with an interception late in the game, well, now you're kind of looking around like, ooh, this team's hanging with us. These other teams could have hung with us, but they made mistakes and we capitalized. Arizona, mostly mistake-free, really safe game plan, sharp game plan, use Dobbs, let him run around, and make it difficult for the Dallas Cowboys defense. They ran on him pretty easily.
Right.
So that's something that Dallas is going to have to address, but great game plan by Arizona. Unpredictable team, so for San Francisco, seeing those first 3 games, they'll have a little better idea. And, they're going to have a solid – they don't have as much margin for error maybe as San Francisco or Philadelphia or something like that. But they sure found a formula to win. There's a formula there. It's, okay, how hard is it going to be
you said that before.
To get to it? There's a formula for every team, and some teams have a little extra margin for error. We can win with a turnover, guys. We got the talent. We got the scheme. We got the players. We got the momentum. We have it between our ears. Young teams, inexperienced teams, new head coaches, stuff like that, they just have less margin for error.
So because you're doing NFC games, you don't get to see all the AFC games. So you don't get to see a Denver-Miami. You can watch highlights, and you do that. But I was saying this yesterday, is that when I watch Miami offensively, I remember when Jordan was in his peak, Michael Jordan, and I'm like, well, he's 6'6". He's not the strongest guy. Dominique Wilkins jumps higher.
Are we going Jordan too? Oh,
well,
boy.
But I remember thinking,
hold on,
Michael makes it look so easy. So you watch Miami's offense, and I'm like, why doesn't everybody use all this motion? Is it too complicated? Like, the NFL's a copycat league. Some of the stuff Miami does, I'm like, how come everybody else doesn't do it? Or is it like, well, you don't have Tyreek Hill? It looks so clever and so much motion. It is.
And the plays he's not reinventing the wheel. Their head coach, right? He's second year of the system. Offenses grow over time. They evolve. It's not like the static words and lines on a page in a book that just sits there and gathers dust in the offseason. Pages come in, pages go out. You evolve. This thing is a living, breathing animal almost. And it depends what that animal, what their attributes are. And if you keep those players and attributes together over time, like Kansas City, you keep that core group together, things start to go off script. You add a couple motions. You add a little tweak here. Hey, remember how we were trying to get to this old counter play we were doing and they kept blowing it up because the 9 technique was just really walling it off and we couldn't get the full, boom, the timing was off, whatever. Let's try it with the motion. Let's try it out of the gun. And we're going to flip the quarterback's mesh point. We're just going to flip him around and turn him around to hand back counter, boom, and throw a little window dressing on it, a little lipstick on the pig. Same damn play. Just a little bit of sprinkles on top of your basic vanilla ice cream, right? And every time they've done it, it works because they're all speaking the same language. You can tell the communication is crisp, it's concise, and it's the second go-round, right? You're just less nervous to do it the second time.
Right.
Everybody knows what's going on. You learn how to ride a bike. I know how to ride a bike forever. I learned how to tie my shoes. I could tie my shoes in the car, standing on top of a bridge, standing under the bridge. Right. It doesn't matter. I know how to tie my shoes. These guys know this offense. And now it's starting to grow with them. And those guys, they got a lot of talent.
By the way, Shanahan, third year, popped in San Francisco. We forget that.
Exactly right. And they're both wordy offenses. It takes a little time to digest some of that stuff. And then how am I teaching this offense to Tua? Because you learn it a few times in the offseason, right? You get different installations of the offense multiple times. So, like, if it takes 12 days to install your entire offense from base game plan, red zone, third downs, backed up, goal line, all that kind of stuff, blitz answers, whatever, coverage beaters. You have about 12 days, maybe 2 weeks of an install each day to whole offense. Yeah. You get that 3 or 4 times in the offseason, OTAs, you get it in training camp, you get it again when the season starts, you get all these cracks at it. Well, now that you've done it 8 times, shoot, I know I could teach these plays to the players. Right. I know why the splits are this. I know how Tua learn that play and what coverages he's run it against. Boom, we're just checking off these plays in this Rolodex in his brain. How many times has he seen it versus man-to-man, versus zone, versus some of these matching zones, versus a fire zone with pressure, versus simulated pressure? Well, now he's starting to run all these plays against all these looks, and now he's just a computer processing 100 miles an hour. And he's crushing it because they have the talent, they've kept them together, and it's the second year in the system.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.